more about myself after I have gone through the land acknowledgement. As I do this land acknowledgement, I want to encourage everyone to reflect on your relationship to this land and how you want to be an ally to the truth and conciliation process in this country. So, with gratitude and mutual respect, I acknowledge that what we call Alberta is the traditional and ancestral territory of many peoples presently subject to Treaties 6, 7, and 8, namely the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Gaina, Piikani, and Siksika, the Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, Stoney Nakoda First Nations of Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the Métis people of Alberta Region 3. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. For my part, as a newcomer, I pledge to add to the process of ongoing truth and reconciliation by pledging to show compassion and care in all my interactions to foster a more inclusive world. So thank you for that. So a little bit about me, for those of you who don't know me, I am one of the program coordinators here with Prospect Human Services. I used to be, and I have run Art Recruits program, which is an experiential art-based employment preparation program that we have for some of our clients returning to work after a gap. And right now, I'm an employment resource coordinator, which means if you drop into a downtown office, you will most likely run into me. What qualifies me to be here today in front of you is that other than my bachelor's degree in commerce, which I've never used after graduating, I have a certificate in adult education, as well as a certificate in teaching critical thinking using art. I have also spoken at a few of government conferences, and well, we lost a participant, so but I'm hoping that they will be back soon. At any given point in time, I want to emphasize that this is a safe space. If you feel comfortable, please add your voice by unmuting yourself. We are not a big. And if you don't feel comfortable unmuting yourself, feel free to drop your answers in the chat. But just so you know, today's session is going to be an interactive session because we are working on conflict management. It is not something we can learn by just listening to other people. We have to get down and get our hands dirty and interact with each other. And I hope that you will find that I've structured and created a safe interaction today. So let's start with a quick pulse check. I'm going to launch a poll, and as soon as I find it, and I want to know, how confident do you feel about handling conflict at work or in personal life? This is an anonymous poll, so please feel free to choose an answer. I don't know who's choosing what. I see one answer has come, one of two. I'm waiting for one more person to answer, and then we can move forward. Okay, let's see what happened. Oh, cool. So the good news is that we are all starting to emerge and build our skills, and we're here to develop and polish our confidence as well as add to our toolkits. And I'm hoping that I can help you with that today. Oh, not sure if I shared the results. Sorry. Here you go. And thank you for that. Now, I want you to reflect on a time when a conflict or a disagreement actually led to unexpected growth. Please type your answers in the chat. I'll give you about 2 minutes to think about it. One time when you found yourself in conflict or disagreement and it led to unexpected growth or something positive. And if you don't feel comfortable sharing that experience, you're more than welcome to share what was one thing you took away from that experience. You can go first. Um, I will share what I took away from my experience as well. I was in a conflict where I got yelled at, and I kept thinking about what do I want to say? How do I give this person back? And it took me quite a bit of time. And in the time it took me to think, that person turned back at me and said, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offload on you." So I learned that sometimes holding back can help, uh, gives other people space to think and reflect, and helps with conflict even without you putting in that much effort. So that was my learning. Love it, Amanda. You went into like a really deep discussion about this, and it's very introspective, right? That every experience can teach us something, and it's a fantastic opportunity for growth. Um, it gives us a chance to reflect on how we are handling situations and what kind of takes us off or triggers us, and how we can control those triggers, manage those triggers, rather. I don't like to say control, to show up as better versions of ourselves. Thank you so much for sharing. And if you don't want to type, please feel free to unmute yourself and talk as well. No restrictions on just doing something one way or the other. It's your way, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you resonate with Amanda's answer, please feel free to click the thumbs up emoji or 100% emoji there. That works as well. And this is, yeah, Brandon, honestly, with me, getting a supervisor or walking away. How has walking away helped you, Brandon, in the past? Walking away works more than getting a supervisor. Yeah, I agree. what I like about what you're saying, Brandon, and again, here we are entering into de-escalating potentially explosive situations. But yeah, walking away gives us that option to kind of, just disconnect and avoid increasing that rise in conflict, which like a situation we might not always be able to control or mitigate as effectively as we'd like to. That reminds me of an example I had recently with a client. So this client, meditation and running. Oh, nice. You know what, Ankbaya? Please correct me. I'm not sure if I'm getting your name right. Is it Ankbaya or is it pronounced some other way? We'll wait for Ankbaya's response. Um, but so this client I got into, I don't know, I would say conflict, but something that was kind of starting to escalate for sure. This I had this gentleman come into my workplace, and the gentleman was big, burly, and 5'2", teeny tiny frame of body. And after some time, the client started um, getting upset, or I was noticing visible signs of unease in the client. And at that point, I thought, okay, I think this is going to be more than I can handle. So my CEO was in the office that day, so I'm like, okay, hey, I need some supervision. Can you come and help me? Um, yeah, Oksana, sometimes we need to be quiet and stay calm. And that's what my CEO later, in fact, yesterday came and told me that, Bindya, remember that client from a few weeks ago? You handled the client very well. And I'll tell you, I didn't feel that way at the time because I felt like, oh my God, my CEO's here, and the printer was not working. So my CEO's here, I can't help this gentleman who's escalating, and I can't help print the documents that the client wants as well. So, it was like compounding. And the CEO told me yesterday, he's like, I think if I had interfered in the situation, I would have definitely escalated it, if anything, because at that point, somebody needed to be calm. We just needed to be calm and quiet and allow the client to express whatever was going on with them. And you know what? Not escalate the situation. So that quiet and calm really, really helped Oksana. That's a great tip too. I hope you guys are making a note of this in case you haven't used this before. The running, Ankbaya, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but it is one of the distress skills that you can use to shift your own tension when you feel like things get too uneasy or too distressing for you in any situation. It helps us shift the energy. I want to share something with you. Let me just see if I have pulled it up at my end. I want to know if anybody is familiar with something called, let me see, how do I? Okay, there you go. Something called the levels of conflict. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Sana. So, judging from these levels of conflict, who can tell me what is their interpretation of what a discomfort might mean?
Mhm.
In terms of conflict, what could a discomfort look like? Discomforting conversation. You can think about your body language, Think about the tone, think about the thoughts, emotions that are going through your mind and body. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult would a discomforting conversation be for you? 10 being, I cannot stand it, 1 and 2 being on the milder side. Oh, it's stuck in the chat. I'm sorry, I missed that. Brandon is a 5, Amanda is a 2. So discomfort is a little bit mild and does not lead to dysregulation on our part, right? We are still able to manage our presence, manage our calm to some extent. It will hurt, sting a little bit, but it's not a deep hurt. That's what I take away from this, from what I'm seeing. Moving on to an incident, what could that look like? Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 3 still, okay. Ankpaya, are you saying 3 for the previous one or for this one, incident? Oksana is a 5, Amanda is a 3 to 4. Yep. Okay, so we are still identifying as not highly dysregulating conversation, even when we are facing an incident. What about a conversation incident? Okay, thank you, Paya. What about a conversation that could lead to a potential misunderstanding? How would that make you feel on a scale of 1 to 10? Same as the other 2, okay. Oksana, you're already crossing the threshold here, looks like, into distressing signals when you have a misunderstanding with people. And they are 6, yeah. And totally, because sometimes misunderstanding can cost us in terms of project, in terms of relationship, our harmony, our peace of mind. So lots going on there. What about tension? And tension is 8 for you, Brandon. Yes. What happens when you are in tension mode or in a conflict that is at a point of high, where tensions are running high? What would that look like for you guys? When you say it's 8, it's 9, what's happening? Tense, tight, adversity feeling, yeah. It impacts our muscles, it impacts our body, it impacts our mind. And what about crisis, a full-blown crisis? Mind, yeah, 10. I would even say 10 plus for me at that point. When I'm in crisis mode, my mind stops, it freezes, and I can't think. And this can simply mean, this can simply be a way of our body, trying to protect us, right? This reminds me of a situation I got into, and at that time, my mind read it as a crisis. So that was my very first time hosting a team building event for an organization, an outside organization that was a multi-million dollar organization. They came to us. I was told that in a big room, I would get tech support, I would have a mic, or whatever. They're using something called an owl, which is like an instrument placed in the center of the table, but it picks up your voice. Now, in a very long room, it's like 20, almost 24 feet long or something, by about 15, 16 feet wide. It's a very long room, and my voice is very soft. It doesn't carry, and with 25 other people in the room, it definitely wasn't carrying. So people could just come in, speak loudly, speak loudly. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm trying my best. And then there were technology problems. So the person who was supposed to co-facilitate with me, the who was coordinating with that group, did not was not able to show up that day. So, and I didn't get the tech support because those people were under the impression that we would provide the tech support, and we were under the impression that they were. So that was not clarified either. So it started with that miscommunication, gap in communication, and this is how it started unfolding during the session itself. And it was hard to grab anybody's attention, and they were all, it felt like everybody was coming at me. And the co-facilitator who had stepped in instead of the one who had arranged all this, she told me, Bindya, it's too much. You have to say something. And the more things started coming at me, the more I froze. And my mind went into this, like it's a full blown crisis mode where I just froze. I finished the session, but it was too much, too overwhelming for me. And after that, I started thinking about what I could have done in that situation to de escalate a little bit, so that I could not only manage the conflict, feel confident in myself, but also de escalate myself. And we'll talk about this a lot more a little bit later. But so far, any thoughts, any comments?
So did I. Looks great, says Mikey T. I beat Crash Bandicoot 4. Hey, well done, Brandon. Nicely done. That game is a pain in the butt.
Oh, you're telling me.
So please keep this in mind, that
doing awesome. Glad to see you're doing good.
if we are not taking care of something at the very beginning stages, and we are not always able to, it can start escalating and getting bigger and bigger. And we'll look at a few strategies that we can use to deal with different levels of conflict today.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, pin link top of the chat for my brother Broken Mike. He is also live. Get on over there.
But first, I have one more task for you guys. And you can think about this quietly. I'll give you the next 4 minutes to do that. Think about another conflict you've had recently, in the near past, be it at home, be it at work, or somewhere else. And then, if you have a pen and pencil to write down these answers, please do. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat, or just, reflect quietly on these questions. How did the conflict escalate? What level do you think it reached? Discomfort, the incident level, misunderstanding, tension, or crisis? And how would you handle it differently? A recent conflict that you've had, and these questions. The questions. How did the conflict escalate? What level of conflict you think it reached? And how would you handle it differently? Today. And you have about 3 minutes remaining to reflect and write down your answers.
It's the alien from earlier. Are they actually following us? No way.
I didn't answer.
Laugh my ass off.
Not
Says
deliberately.
Alpha. Where am I getting shot from?
Behind.
Considered capture. Yeah.
I can't believe they followed us.
David, thank you for sharing, Abdaya.
Hey, Pinky, I'm literally right there, and you're picking me up.
You bring a very nuanced point to this conversation because the same thing can have different meanings in different cultures, and everybody does things a little bit different. For example, in Canadian culture, looking at people directly and talking to them by looking at their eyes, or straightening their eyes is considered respectful and normal, and something that shows engagement, versus in some other cultures, we see looking into people's eyes or looking directly at them when talking to them, especially when they're seniors, or there's a power dynamic there where we are somebody is in a higher authority figure than us. It can be considered rude. And that can cause a lot of misunderstanding too.
Why doesn't she do a series on...
Okay, guys. So I'm hoping that everybody's done reflecting on their experiences. And thank you again for engaging with me on that task. You will see that I have loaded a file in the chat. It says levels of conflict. So, and it's a little bit of a longer sheet. I have also put in some conflict management strategies in there. For the sake of time, I don't want to discuss each and every single one of them. Yeah, some conflict escalate when people stop listening. Yeah. Listening seems to be a huge component here, doesn't it? When it comes to conflict. And also on that point, I also want to emphasize that when we are listening, we want to listen. Yes, when you listen to respond instead of understanding. Well, you know what? Why would I'm such a busy person. I know exactly what you want to say. So let me finish the sentence for you, even, or I know exactly where you're going with this. And there you go. The chain of communication just starts breaking down so rapidly. But when listening, I want to emphasize that, a lot of the times, even with the best intentions, we still see the person in front of us as the problem. And that is where a shift needs to happen, because when we focus on the person, not the problem, we are still going to go into conflict resolution because we are going to use the language of you. You made me feel this way. You are doing this. There's something wrong with you. Versus when we are thinking about the problem and focusing in on the problem itself, we start changing the language and start fighting for a cause and start building a case for ourselves by using I sentences instead of you sentences. So there's something to keep in mind, that when we are talking and we find ourselves in conflict, what is the core crux of the matter here? If you remove that person from the picture, what's happening? For example, excuse me, I recently did I'm just doing training because that's why this is something new to me, like organization-wide training. This is my first training, and people who were supposed to help with that are no longer in the organization, so it started falling on me. But anyways, I had to redesign somebody else's training, and I'm putting this into. I'm implementing this in the organization. So what happens? I started getting feedback from people. I'm collecting personal feedback from people, and this one person said, India, it was very slow. You were wasting too much time on the polls and the chat. I mean, I know that you need to be inclusive and all, but this is who I am. I don't like the touchy feely kind of thing and all. And you can get away with this and you can get away with that. And at first it hurt. I'm like, oh my god, she is giving me negative feedback. But I took a step back, and once I distilled through all the talk that had happened, what she was just saying is, I wanted more. I wanted more of the subject matter itself, and Bindya. My learning style is not aligning with the way you are teaching. So what can I do there, right? And this is the way. I mean, I need to cut down the time still. So that was a very practical tip she gave me. It made me think that okay, instead of waiting for people to answer in chat, how about I invite them to answer in chat and I move on. So she actually helped me, think about solutions proactively on the spot, even as I was having the conversation with her. But it took me a bit to get to that place of okay, what are we trying to get at here? And that's why listening to understand, like Amanda and Oksana, you're both saying, is very, very important. Okay, people, since we only have four, I'm going to create two breakout rooms. And in the two breakout rooms, I'm going to be giving you, all of you guys, a scenario sheet. If we start at 136, I'll give you 30 minutes to practice three scenarios. And this is what I want you to do, three scenarios for each group. So for each scenario, build a skit to show us how you would resolve the conflict using the strategies I have provided in the levels of conflict sheet that I put in earlier. So if you go through the chat, mine is the fourth from the bottom, levels of conflict. Click on that. Nobody's Amanda. Thank you for letting us know. Please practice the best you can with Ankayar, and then Ankayar, you will have to let us know what happened. Okay? Or we can do one. We can do this instead. I'll give you 15 minutes to practice two scenarios, come back, and then we'll have Amanda and Ankayar go first, if that's okay with the group. So guys, please download the first file, that's levels of conflict, and I'm going to put down the next one as well. Scenarios. Okay, there you go. So Ankayar and Amanda, when you go through the scenarios, I want you to choose to create a script on scenario. Scenario 1 and 7. And Oksana and Brandon, I want you to work on scenarios 3 and 10. 1 and 7 for Ankayar and Amanda, and Brandon and Oksana, 3 and 10. I'm going to break up the, open the breakout rooms here. And I'll see you back in 15 minutes.
I don't remember what the freaking one it is.
Hi, did you see this scenarios?
Yeah.
Where is I can find?
I think it was 3 one of them. I don't remember the other one. Shoot. Oh. There's. Yeah, that was a complicated. Yeah. I get this. That. Shit. Okay. So 3 is from. Okay, but. I think this is R3. I don't know. I don't know which one this scenarios were. Damn it. Remember one. Should have been. I should have been. This is about verse 3. Says Maya, her manager. Okay, see, imagine an optionally appear. Maya receives a vague performance feedback with no clear direction on how to improve. She feels discouraged and unsure how to grow in her role. The feedback conflict is her negative feedback. That's probably one of the steps. So steps to get clarity and then support she needs. Okay. I'd say probably ask either meeting with the manager, maybe, or some other thing with the supervisor, and then maybe ask for like a written thing, like written out stuff, steps or whatever, which with meetings, and that's one thing I can think about right now. But yeah, no, it's just, that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of just this is so vague. It's not much of scenarios here. They're not like that many. Like this is kind of like who says this and then that ask you doesn't really give you a lot of like content. Huh. Hey, mom. Hey, sir. Oh boy, it's not an easy freaking thing to do. It's vague. It's like, Only thing I could think of. Hmm.
Hey guys, how's it going?
I didn't find the seniors
You're not able to find the scenarios?
yet.
I found 3. So that's the one I was looking around and doing, trying to like brainstorm. Yeah.
Okay. Here, I'll put it in the file again, guys. But have you been able to brainstorm at least one scenario?
I did that once in art 3 for me, at least. Yeah.
Awesome. You have 4 minutes,
Okay.
and that's fine. If you're done, we can come back and we can have you play out your skit. I hope you're ready.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I'll see you back in the main room.
Okay.
When you're ready, just click leave breakout room.
Yeah. How do you do that? I don't know.
We'll just wait for someone to get back. Sure, Ankayar. I'm going to encourage you to please make sure that you are in a space where there's continuous internet connectivity and that we are able to chat continuously, because this kind of a workshop does not work with too much lag time. So yeah, see you around next time. Okay, welcome back, guys. So some of our participants had to leave. If you're able to put up the skit, I would still appreciate it. So scenario 3. Please tell me about your scenario and then present your skit. And you can keep talking without turning on your videos, not a problem.
Okay, so that's scenario 3, yeah, with Maya and her manager, and she's got some feedback performance that there's no direction on. She doesn't know how, like, what she should do to improve that. So yes.
And what's the solution we are going with?
My solution, I would say either request another meeting or with the supervisor, and both of them, and that may help as well. I mean, that's a way to hopefully have a solution. I would say that's a solution where it's a productive meeting and it's like able to explain what, like, the feedback to make more sense, like for her to understand, like, what's going on, how to improve her performance if it's necessary. Well, it's necessary, but so, and basically just like try to be clear and communicate it properly. Not try, the tone and everything has to be like respectful and sort of laid out which areas and where is good and where is bad, and then work on it each stage. Yeah.
So what would a respectful tone look like?
I guess like try to be like tone, try to be not too high but not too low. Like try to be like kind of a neutral voice, sort of like kind of like a sort of like that, and try to be like showing that you care enough for it to help with this problem, right? And that's necessary, and that you will help or work on it together, right? And be like a team, right? Teamwork. So yeah,
I love that. I love the teamwork aspect.
yeah.
How would that make Maya feel, you think, if she had that conversation, for your suggestion?
So you feel comfortable that her manager may have helped to understand, right? Be how to say like feel like she was heard. I guess I don't know. Heard that the manager understands, basically, kind of where the. So now that she's that's how do you say that, the manager can kind of empathize, I guess, in a way, sort of.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So don't assume.
yeah,
With curiosity.
yeah.
Love it. And tell me, guys, what does this kind of strategy speak to? A collaborative strategy, an accommodating strategy where someone is accommodating of other people's needs, a compromising strategy, or something else?
I would say it's collaboration and a little bit of collaboration mostly. Yeah, like
Love that, Brandon. So, yeah, I'm going to come back to this one, collaboration, again, because you've hit gold here when it comes to conflict resolution. A collaborative solution is always the best best approach that we can have. So you guys didn't get to scenario 10, right?
I did. I forgot which one, and I was looking at it a little bit. It seemed it's about discomforted like office, right? And it's Sarah and David, and then this thermostat. So they're fighting over the thermostat, basically.
Yes.
So a solution, I would say, probably would be wearing layers if it's an issue, or either some fans. I would say that's different. I would say that's a compromise. Like I would say that's a type of like, and that wouldn't be collaboration, but that would maybe be empathy. That would be empathize. Well, if there's an issue, right? It's like you don't feel comfortable with that sort of like the thermostat being the wrong way, or so that's sort of and that's their disagreement.
That is awesome. You're good at it, Brandon. You could teach this course, I'm sure. Oksana, what are your thoughts? Are we going to go with Brandon's suggestion, or do you have some other suggestions for scenario 10, the temperature tug of war?
I agree with Brandon because he tell everything. I can add something because it was good.
It was good. Okay. I love it. It was good. Guys, since we are just I only have the two of you right now, if you're okay, I would invite you to, I'm going to just change the format a bit and invite you to go through all the scenarios one by one, or as many as we can till 2:30, and see what solutions we come up with. Is that okay with you both? And you don't have to do a skit or anything. Okay. We'll just talk it out as a group.
I think we can do one. Start with one, I guess.
Okay, start with one.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
So Sarah, Alex, and so a manager. Okay, she says Sarah feels overwhelmed and she's like anxious, like her work is crazy, and she's not, but she hasn't been able to, she doesn't really express her concerns of what's going on. And Alex is just, he's taking on, he's not complaining, he's like whatever, and it's like, and they're both, but they still both feel that pressure, right? And it's like, that's kind of, I guess their conflict is that's they're kind of one is like kind of more openly overwhelming feeling. It's like and you can see the anxiety in that, right? And it's like, but still kind of not as fully expressing, but like it's kind of where Alex is way more quieter. I guess way more. He's like kind of like without complaining though. She probably has been more complaining. That's he's just kind of taking on more stuff, more or he's been taking on more tasks, right? So he's like kind of doing that, and it's kind of a conflict because they're kind of in the same like boat, but that they're at, but it's kind of like they're taking on different ways in it, but it conflicts though instead of helping each other, right? It's kind of like it's like both ways can't really work. You have to have a like sort of like a good solution that works, obviously. And I don't know how they would work to resolve it. Would be like I guess having to be with the manager or whatnot and sitting down and trying to be like delegating different tasks more properly. I would guess I'm. This one's kind of different, a little bit, yeah,
Mhm.
up in the air for me. I don't know the
Up
answer
in the air for you? Okay.
because it's kind of like the more introvert extrovert or the kind of more one's a little bit more extroverted, I guess, with how he's expressing right like concerns right like
Yeah.
so one's more introvert, more not without complaining. So it's kind of like yeah.
And what happens when we have two different kind of
Sometimes.
personalities on the same team?
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the high workload.
Yeah, one assumes or that you can do it all, then they assume you can do everything, right? So, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the more you do, the more the
expected.
responsibilities might get transferred to you because you're able to do it.
Yeah,
You're the person
no
who can do it.
complaining, and then they think, right? So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And that can take a toll on people's health too.
yeah, mental health, physical, everything, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Brandon. Oksana, what do you think?
Hmm.
You're talking about scenario one. The pressure of being overworked.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know about that because I don't have I can't explain about that.
Um, could they approach the manager as a team?
Yeah,
What would that look like if Oksana and Brandon were to tell Bindia, hey Bindia, this is too much. You're asking too much of us. Considering there's a power dynamic
Yeah,
there,
right.
you have to go to
Basically,
the manager.
yeah. I would say that, right? Because you have to have some sort of like. I'd say it's probably collab and empathy. I think it's both. It's kind of like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so from a manager's perspective,
Yeah.
what could the manager be looking at?
I guess sort of. The manager would probably be like trying to see how he can. So how he can. I guess like create a way to like satisfy. I don't know, make it more comfortable for them. I'm not sure. Yeah, like sort of. I don't know.
So, and that's okay. That's why we need to break this down. So, what is the problem here?
The problem is both one's feeling overwhelmed and the other one is not complaining though, but they're both not expressing their concerns though either way. Like and they both feel that pressure. They're not like
Why are they feeling the pressure?
it's because they're one of them is not taking or trying to explain that they should just assume that they can do everything or more things. Like because they're not complaining. So the manager assumes that Alex can do right all this, and then it's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah,
So just for 1 second, if we remove the people
yeah.
from the context, what is happening? Just from a factual observation, without people's feelings, without bringing in, people's thoughts into this, what are we
I
noticing?
guess there's been overworking. I'm not sure. Like, yeah,
So the problem,
yeah,
and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there's too much work.
yep. That's
Mhm.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. So now that we zone in on the problem, how can we approach the manager, or how can Sarah and Alex approach the manager? Um,
I'd say with like a meeting. I guess. Like, I would think that's a good way to. Like,
yeah, ask for a meeting,
yeah.
and
Plus, yeah.
what can they bring up at the meeting? What are the topics that can
guess-
or how can they?
Yeah, I guess
go
they're
ahead.
feeling with Sarah and how she's feeling with and both with Alex too, because even though he's not complaining, it might like be assumed that he can do even more things, and then it's over. Like, so that's kind of, and then just tell the manager basically like, well, I'm feeling overwhelmed and anxiety, and he's even though not complaining because I don't want to cause maybe like it doesn't want to cause issues or it doesn't want to be seen as like insubordinate or seen as just what kind of is seen as like a problem, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So start with those I statements, right? Like,
Yeah.
fight for your case, not
Yeah.
the cause. That's perfect. And the truth of the matter is that the manager most likely cannot refute
Yeah.
is that there is too much work, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So once we zone into the problem, into that unrefutable problem, and remove the blame from anybody, then we can move into problem solving mode, right?
Yeah.
So once we use the I statements, I've said, oh hey, Brandon, you're the manager, Oksana and I, we've just been feeling so overwhelmed, like the workload feels a little too much for us right now. And the manager might say, and Brandon, you might say, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, guys. How can I help you?
Yeah.
What would the conversation look like after that?
It kind of looked like just trying to maybe write things and like down, or not write things down, but like kind of give a list of things. Maybe I don't like kind of tasks like areas to do. I'm kind of like I don't know. I can't think. It's hard to think.
And that's okay. That's okay. That's why we gather, because if we could do it, then you wouldn't need me.
Yeah.
Need to be abandoned. But thank you for being, transparent about it. This one is a one.
Yeah. It's just the information, so I kind of tried to, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to keep this because I kept this to like do actually over with other people even like I know and see what we can come up with. But yeah.
Yeah. In a big group, we have so many responses. There's a lot to learn with this one, especially with this one. And I know we spend a lot of time on this one.
Right. Exactly.
So, Oksana, how would you move the conversation forward? Once we tell Brandon we feel overwhelmed because of the workload, and Brandon comes and asks us, okay, so how can I help you guys? What kind of help would you need from Brandon? Let me complicate things a little more here. So, yes, there are two people who are overworked, but that is also because we have a project deadline to meet.
Yep.
What happens to the conversation now?
It's a little bit more like, I guess, like urgent.
It's
Yeah.
urgent. Oh, that's your solution, Brandon. I'm the manager. It's urgent, guys. Go do it.
We gotta
then
do
now
this.
we can take a
Yeah.
date.
It's because then that complicates things.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Timetable. Yeah.
what if when the manager asks, "What do you need from me?"
Right.
we come up with a compromise solution?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
I guess some tasks, it's like a split of them, I guess, between each, or sort of like that, and then with time given, I guess more, or less because you got time to, but it's like kind of splitting the task up, I guess. That's one way. So
Yeah.
each are again not equal, but kind of similar, I guess, like responsibilities. I don't know.
Love it, Brandon. And I read about this just yesterday. So you want to be productive for your manager, and you also want to make sure that you are not burning out in the process, right? So the best way we can be productive is to focus on what drives us, what energizes us at work, and what are our strength areas at work, right? So how about we have a discussion with manager to relook at all the tasks that have been assigned to Alex and Sarah, and figure out where in the which strengths do each of those tasks align with when it comes to Sarah and Alex. And then my managers, at least in our organization, they've always gone one step further and asked us, you know what, how about I take away this component from you and I can work on this? Or let's try to bring in somebody else from outside. Maybe we can borrow someone from another department to help us with some other stuff. So, for example, we have a department that answers the phone calls. You know, when people call the first time, so they have to call people, do a small intake with them. But our phones are ringing off the hook, and it's over 200 calls in a week. So sometimes when they are short-staffed, we have been pulled, even as an instructional facilitator. I was given training on that particular role, so I can also help with them with those things. And I helped for like 3 or 4 months at one point because we needed to, you know, help get them through those call volumes. And then it's once it's stabilized, we brought back to our own, doing our own thing. So is that something that you feel comfortable doing, like approaching?
Switching around, or maybe having an extra person or so each, and then the time is reduced, right? Or be able to do it in lesser time than Is that something either of you have done at work previously? I think I've done it a few times, yes, but not too many times, but sometimes,
Yeah, and it helps, Brandon, managing the work. So thank you. So it looks like for more complex problems, conflict problems, we have to use more than one strategy, not just one single strategy. So that's good. Like, so compromise, I statements, that was amazing. And make sure that, you know, the task is redistributed according to our strengths. Okay, scenario 2.
Okay. So John and his manager, so he's having an issue with, he's struggling in the meetings, and then he's like, I don't know, I'm unclear about things, and then he wants to speak up to his manager, but he doesn't know about the structure. He wants more structure in there, right? And so he's like, it's kind of like the communication is lacking, right? It's kind of down where it needs to be up high, obviously, and then he wants to be respectful to his manager though and clear, right? Like so.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, what is the strategy we can use there?
I think definitely either speaking one on one with the manager, and then he obviously wants to, and then I think it's like either paying attention to the meetings, maybe like some other way, like being like I don't know, having more coffee or something. I don't know, or being notes, sort of like that. I don't. That's kind of yeah.
So, on the levels of conflict scale, where would you rate this? Is this a discomforting conflict? Is this a minor incident? Is this a misunderstanding?
It's understanding, yeah,
Misunderstanding?
because he's struggling to follow along. So it's kind of like he wouldn't be understanding everything then, right? He's kind of like yeah, and then it's like, but then I guess my problem I missed out where the expectations where he doesn't know. I guess that's my he wants to have a clear expectations, right? So that's kind of yeah.
And well, to that, I would argue, and Oksana, jump in as you feel fit. Feel free. Like, don't wait for me to ask you to unmute. That's fine. It's a small group. I want to make sure that we are all being heard. We are all learning at different levels, right? And our comprehension differs too. So, if he's not understanding,
Right.
and the manager is conducting the meeting, I'm thinking, who does the onus fall to make sure
Probably
that
the manager.
probably the manager.
Yeah.
So, what could be the solution there for that misunderstanding? So that I think some of us said that misunderstanding can become an aid for us or
It slowly
something.
comes up to. It can be if it doesn't resolve, it's gonna go up to it can be tension there, right? And if you don't get it, so it's like
Yeah, exactly,
it's
right?
going slowly up the of like kind of how you say like bad or what like the DEFCON where it's like it's like it's
DEFCON 5.
yeah. So and if it's not resolved then because it could start out small, some things start out big and then small. It depends if you can go like conflicts, right? It depends with this one. It's definitely
Yeah.
starting out small. So but yeah, and it's just like a solution I would say is probably like yeah, he's got to speak to his manager, maybe get some other people or have a meeting, right? And like that's kind of like a starting point. So yeah,
I agree. So I want to know, what would that conversation look like?
or I'd be like, yeah, I need help. I can't follow along these expectations. I don't understand. They're not clear to me, and I need help understanding so I can follow along with everybody else, like and at the same pace or similar pace, and so I have a clear like discussion so I can actually can speak things. He can not just if he's needed to be called on right for a certain thing to understand right, he can't. So like that he's how do you say like he'd be able to be not participant but like somebody that can actually lead the conversation maybe or if needed. I don't know. So
Why not?
yeah.
I think that's a very novel approach, Brandon. And next time I'm going to see if I can even implement this in our meetings when I struggle to understand things.
Yep.
Well, in the past, when I have had clients who struggle with language barriers or comprehension barriers, some of us are fast thinkers, some of us are deep thinkers.
Yeah.
Thinkers will process things at a little bit of a slower pace than the fast thinkers. In those cases, what we would do is we would write up the instructions
Yeah.
and give them a write up of those instructions
Yeah.
because
Definitely.
some of us need that visual, right, to connect with what we are hearing.
Because visual is
so
a good visual. Like that's a better aid than sometimes words. I don't know, because I feel like that's where he's missing out because he's being in a meeting, but a lot of times he needs something that he can look at more than just hear, right? So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm wondering if John here can do the same, like
Yeah.
ask probably for a printed agenda or what have you.
Email or whatever, whatnot. Yeah, like kind of right. So that would be a good
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
And you think it would help? And Oksana, I think this is my question. Sorry, I don't think. I want you to answer this question because I think you put an 8 for misunderstanding, if I'm correct. Do you think this kind of solution would help John asking for a written, for some written material on the talking points?
Yes, I think it's help.
Why would you? What makes you say that? I just want to dig a little bit deeper here.
Because when you look somewhere and see, for example, graphic or picture, or somebody writes something, and after that you can understand more and you can see, I think.
And do you think in that case we can bring that intensity, that on the scale of 1 to 10, from 8 to like closer to 6 or 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Five,
So we can regulate ourselves again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon, you agree too?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So guys, it is 2:30. We still have 30 more minutes. Are we good to do one more scenario, or do you think this is already too
I think
much?
this is it's enough for me at least. I don't know. I'll practice more afterwards, I think. Yeah, definitely. So
Oksana, what do you think?
I think too much.
Too much? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No worries. Generally, I have, like I said, I have bigger groups, so people are doing, like each group is doing 2 scenarios, and there's a lot to discuss. But now I want to get to debrief then. Thinking about those levels of conflict and everything we've done so far. What insights, if any, did you gain into your own conflict management style? How do you manage conflict? What kind of scenarios do you get into more often? A tension situation, misunderstandings, where do you find yourself?
misunderstandings, communications, all of them kind of in one way, but mostly a lot of times is misunderstanding. Yeah.
Understandings. And how do you handle those misunderstandings, or how have you handled those till this point?
I guess I try to explain myself better, hopefully for the person to understand. Like,
So, Brandon, how did you get there? Like, how did you figure out that this is the piece you needed to work on? And what are the strategies you
I
use?
guess my parents have always taught me, like, if it's something that you can resolve and it's possible to work on, then you always should try, because it's not something worth it if you're gonna blow up the whole thing over, right? And then it's not good, and it's like you look kind of like you're just being I don't know. It's like it's kind of like, because I feel need, I want people to understand, I guess, like so I don't know, not in one way. So yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. Sometimes, like, when you have that supportive, a supportive network who can actually help you grow.
It's always something to learn and practice again and again, like, so.
Yeah. Well, that's what conflict management is too, right? A lot of practice. And before you guys go, I will just talk about one more thing. But Oksana, what about you? What kind of situations have you found yourself in? And what is your style of conflict management?
Yes, I think we need to stay calm and respectful
Mhm.
for others and keep our voice calm and avoid blaming or using angry or bad words and listening and focus on the problem, not on the person, and talk with uh, others. And if you don't understand or you don't know something, you can ask.
Clarify. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a lot of those active listening skills seem to be coming into play again. Listen to listen, not to respond, be curious, clarify, ask more questions to understand things better, right?
Yep.
Before assuming that, no, this is not going to work for me. This is it.
Exactly. Yep.
Thank you. Any strategies that are not on the handout that you have used in the past that have helped you successfully navigate conflict?
Can't think of recently, but yeah. I guess like I had to speak to my supervisor, and then there's some issue with somebody, and then that was I can't really remember. It's a while. I've been trying to find work, so it's hard to look back now. It's like it's been years almost. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really think of one right now.
No worries. If anything comes to mind, to email me at india.prospectnow.ca.
Yeah.
And thank you, Brandon. And Oksana, what about you?
I think we need avoiding.
Avoiding?
Yes. Don't you don't keep conflict and after that can be more and you can I think you can stop it.
So don't let it get big.
Yes, because it's bigger and will be bigger and bigger and can be after the fighting maybe or something like that.
Yes. After 2 rounds of kickboxing or boxing.
Yes.
True. And yet, Oksana, I find that a lot of the times it is so hard to, even bring a point forward, right? That is why when I heard this, and this is not my, something that I've learned just from experience, focusing on the problem, not the people.
Yeah.
It is actually suggested by, gosh, I can't remember the names of the authors, but authors of having difficult conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
So mostly it seems conflicts stem from different ideologies, different lenses, and different ways. And the problem. So always look at what the problem is. Try to drill to the core, which also means removing those elements of emotions and feelings first, and then zoning it and using the feelings and emotions as a solution, not as a lens to looking at the problem. So guys, I don't know if you guys have heard about Thomas Gilman's conflict models. Anybody?
I might have.
No? Okay. Oh, you have, Brandon?
Might have. I heard that name, but no, I don't probably have. Okay.
So apparently, it turns out we use 5 techniques to resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Like Oksana mentioned, is avoiding. 2, and I have found myself time and time again in this box, accommodating. So, always thinking about, what other people need and like bending to that. Then Brandon comes compromising, like you already mentioned. And finally, and the best way to go about any conflict resolution or conflict management is collaboration.
Yep.
Working together to find a solution.
Yep.
I'm not saying, and neither is Thomas Kilman, I'm sure, that, we will always be able to collaboratively find a solution or compromise to find a solution. What we want to do is recognize where we fall in these categories, what is our go-to method, and if it is avoidance, then you want to come out of that,
exactly.
out of that. So keep that in mind as you leave here today. I want to know, what are your takeaways today? Is there anything new that you found
I
out?
guess a lot of strategies how to deal with conflict, like doing that in the work, like especially workplace and that. It's a lot of important things like I've learned.
Yeah?
Like
Can you share a little
different
bit?
scenarios, a lot of scenarios we did, right? A lot of like we were going over, and that's a lot of stuff I've like kind of seen in the workplace too. Like so, similar things, right? And definitely things I'm how do you say relate to? Maybe relate to some of the problems people like in scenarios, right? It's like so, yeah, like communication and things. So
So a
That's
lot
true.
of like memory refreshing going on today.
a lot of that, yeah.
Thank you. And Oksana?
Conflict management, handling, and strategy.
Can you tell me what kind of strategy like you found the most useful here, like something new or something else?
Yes, for example, because I told about avoiding,
Yeah.
yes, and compromising, for example, new for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes,
And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
and negotiating, for example, it's new for me.
Oh, okay. So then, how comfortable do you feel using any one of these techniques, or even working on that, that avoidance side of things?
Yes, for example, negotiating, you should discuss and share your options with others clearly.
Love it. And you know what you say, Oksana, what I like about that is when you try to, go in with negotiating something, you're mostly trying to, just bring your point of view to. Sometimes negotiation in sales is probably considered bad, but not in conflict, right? You have to negotiate your way, and you want to come out of a conflict not feeling like dysregulated like at that 10, but feeling at least a little bit better about yourself, about the whole situation. You can only try your best. That perspective and the perspective of curiosity, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong, both of you, I feel takes away from the fear of engaging in conflict.
Yeah, basically, yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Because it's about understanding, right? Curiosity is all about understanding. Oh, tell me a little more.
Yeah.
Help me understand. So that judgment piece goes down, and then we can, I hope, Oksana, you can, use that curiosity and that negotiation to move from avoidance into the next bucket, which is accommodating.
Yes.
Slowly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being honest and sharing. So to close this session, guys, I want to invite both of you to a small visualization exercise. Please close your eyes and imagine a future situation where you find yourself in conflict. And then visualize yourself using whatever one concept you learned today or resonated with you today. Think about how that situation unfolds. Is it unfolding differently from what would have happened? And how are you feeling in that particular complex situation? After using the strategy or after doing something different, just close your eyes, take a deep breath, slow your breathing down, and then get into the visualization. I will call out when it's time for you to come back into the space. I'll give you about a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, whenever you're ready, open your eyes gently. Feel free to come back into the space and let me know through chat by unmuting yourselves or a thumbs up to let me know that you're here. Oksana, let me know when you're back.
So, I have some more.
So, guys, I know Brandon is done. I will formally end the session, but I'll be here on the. I'll keep the meeting on till 3 o'clock in case of Sana needs time. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yep.
I hope you found something of value. If something resonated with you, keep it. If it didn't, leave it here. That happens.
Yep.
Have a good rest of your week.
Good day. Good. Yep.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sana. Take care. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.